I'll put myself. You hear that thing said this meeting is being recorded, so I guess it's time for us to get serious, huh? Get to the business of the day. All right, I'll go on mute, and I'm listening.
All right, welcome everyone.
Okay.
Welcome. Let me record it here. Welcome everyone. So it's a funny thing about really listening to self and trying to navigate our way into this new earth. And let me just say, Mercury went out of retrograde today. Not a moment or a second too soon for me. This retrograde, I felt it more than at any other time. Okay? I've never felt so. Okay, let me describe the feeling. It's not conscious to the front of my consciousness, but it's kind of background. A sense of paranoia, fear, and general insecurity about the future. The best way that I can describe this, it is as if, since energy doesn't lie, it is as if my body knows something that my consciousness and my mind is not prepared to process or to acknowledge. And it's a funny sensation, and you all know how disciplined I am with my spiritual practice. So typically, when I'm completely open and surrendered, when I get up in the morning after I do my 12 universal breath and all that, everything is open. I do that. I do my DNA reconstruction or ascension meditation, which is each one of them are 45 minutes. I do one of them, and then I go to the waterfront, and it typically takes me another hour to let go of that feeling, because I feel like it's gripping me, like a tight vice around my core that I cannot completely let go. Like I know something, and I know a lot of it is not mine. I am picking something in the ether of the planet. I am picking something that's becoming, and it's a sense of uncomfortability that typically I can shake in 15 minutes at the most. And I'm getting a sense of being unable to let it go. Something is afoot, something is coming in the ether, and I'm not neutral yet enough to be able to see the whole thing. Now, typically around this time of the year, October, November, I start getting predictions or sense of where the next year is going to be. I know what I'm picking up is related to what's going to happen in the future for 2022. And I know that whatever it is that's out there is so unexpected and maybe dangerous in some level, or that the path, the middle path forward, is so treacherous that right now I cannot perceive all of it. That's the best way I can describe where I am as I'm negotiating this and as I'm moving through it. And when I finally am open and the release happen, it feels absolutely wonderful to be in that space where I'm surrendered. And I know, and I'm in a sense, I feel supported, and I feel that the universe is with me, and I feel a sense of comfort and security, and that I am okay. But it grips me. And I know most of it is not mine. Any questions, any comments about this? Any of you have experienced anything vaguely that sounds familiar to this?
I noticed something I think similar, because I've been feeling very good since I've been doing this, oh, there is a beautiful rainbow by my window. Sorry, I just noticed it. So I've been feeling very good in general because me doing the DNA reconstruction and ascension meditation. But when I lie in bed, I feel something like you said in the background. I feel that tightness, and I feel something. It's like creeping in. It's like trying to creep in, and it will connect with me. So it doesn't quite penetrate my emotional body, but I do get a sense of like fear/paranoia, but I don't know what it is yet. That's why it's not quite connecting with my emotional body. It's more in the background. I have a sense that it will be political, though. I feel like it will be political.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. It's possible because in the United States next year is an election year. Midterm elections are coming up, so it could be political, but I think it's something else.
Well, at least okay. Let me rephrase. It might start as political and end with something else. Something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't confirmed it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's something very
Pierre,
yes.
I really feel like I understand kind of how you're feeling because I was trying to explain that to my daughter. I said, I just feel like there is something impending. Like you feel something is coming. And usually, like if you've ever been in Florida when they're getting ready for a hurricane,
Yep.
the air actually changes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a kind of a heaviness, in the air. You try to do all the things you need to do to sort of like batten down the hatches so you could kind of ride it out.
Yep.
And I was trying to tell Danielisa, I said, I don't know what it is. I don't know what is happening. I said, but something is happening around me and I can't quite put my finger on it. I said, but I feel to kind of, like if you could hibernate or something or put something over you till it passes, over you some kind of way, because it doesn't feel like something that I could stop. It feels like something that has to happen and I have to get through it. But while you're waiting for it to come, it's like that little fear that comes up until you could actually see whatever it is that you're facing. Like there's something coming, and you just don't have a way to describe it. I mean, it's not something you've seen before. It's almost like something you haven't experienced, but you just feel it energetically. And this is sometimes like I just want to wrap myself up and just stay, just stay in one little spot until it passes over. So when you started talking about this, I said, oh my God, at least I'm not crazy. At least I'm not crazy. I said, because I'm feeling like this and I'm feeling like I shouldn't be feeling like this. I feel like, well, you should know better. Now, so Lydia, you have to have faith. You have to live all the things you understand. You have to actually be in that place of neutrality. And I kept on telling this to my daughter today. And I said, even if something is irritating you, you have to be, is it the oyster that makes that little pearl out of the irritation? I said, you have to allow, the natural, things that your body generates to actually calm the situation, because you can't help it. You could just be, and to wait and to maintain your courage while waiting.
Yep.
To see but not know what's coming and still stand.
Yep.
I mean, that must be like when the soldiers are in them bunkers and they know something's coming across the hill, but they have to hold a position. That's kind of like how I feel like I'm trying to hold this position, trying to hold it.
Yep. Thank you for confirming that, both Cindy and Ursula. And I have to say to you that, and given the fact that my emotional body, maybe I'm more attuned to this than most, my emotional body is more receptive to it. The archons are also agitating it. For me, they're making it much bigger. And this is why it takes me an hour and 15 minutes sometimes to shake it. Even with all the knowledge that I know, all the mechanics I've given you for the past 3 weeks on how to deal with the archon, separating what is mine, what is not mine, asking Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael to come in to take the part of the archon out and releasing my part into the universe. It is a general insecurity about the future.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel, Pierre, I do feel the difference when they make it bigger.
Yeah,
I can feel the difference.
yeah.
It's just, you know, I know what it is. I go by my practice. I get the, you know, I do all the things, so it's temporary.
Yep.
But it's enough. It's enough that I get a relief, you know.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm gonna share with you what I think it is, although I'm not confirming it yet. So don't go out there and go blah blah this to the rest of the world. And this is me. This is something that's in process. I'm being vulnerable and intimate with you to share with you information that I know is in process. Right. My sense and my perception is that there is a very, very dangerous pathogen, different than corona, that's coming. And I've been saying this for almost 2 years now. And due to the fact that many people do not trust the medicine, modern medicine, and the medication and the preventive stuff that are being done right now, people are not going to trust anything that comes up for this. And it's going to wipe out a lot of people. And it's something that will happen before the end of, will begin to happen before the end of this year. And it will be full pandemic by the first 3 to 4 months of next year, by the 3rd or the 4th month of next year. And that will cause all kinds of other problems, as if the planet didn't have enough. Migration problems, it's going to cause economical problems, it's going to cause all kind of chaos. The thing that I don't have right now, the clarity I don't have right now, is how to navigate this. This is why I'm not going public with this. I'm not sharing this in public. I'm sharing only with you guys because I don't have enough information. And the reason I don't have clarity is because I am scared currently. I'm not neutral. I'm scared. And I'm trying, until I am neutral, I will not be able to see that future. I remember that scene in the second Matrix when Neo asked the Oracle something, and the Oracle said, "Suit yourself," and then Neo said to the Oracle, "So you already know what I'm going to do?" She said, "Well, I wouldn't be much of an Oracle if I didn't know." And then Neo responded by saying, "So how can I make a decision?" And she says, "I thought you would figure this out. You didn't come here to make the decision. You've already made the choice. You came here to understand the choice you've already made." And then she later on, after the more conversation happened, she said, "No one can understand the future that you're not prepared to understand." And right now, there's a part of this that's so disturbing to me at this point that I'm not prepared to see it. And so I need between now and then to really calm down and really become neutral so that whatever it is that will happen. I've done it before, and the predictions that I came in 2014, 2015, every year since after, I've been able to calm down. Initially, when they came in, they came very similar to this, which is, I can't see it. I feel something is wrong, but I can't put my finger on it. Now, it's interesting that some of you are also perceiving this, because we're all human and we're all connected to the ether of the planet and the group body of 8 billion people on Earth. And if something is about to happen to affect, let's say, half of the population or 1/3 of it, the group body knows before it happens, because energy doesn't lie. Yeah. When the future is already decided and it's about to happen, ahead of the actual, physical, how it happened in space-time, we already know it ahead of time.
It's definitely creeping in, and I kind of said political because I perceive chaos. But I guess maybe I should have said better chaos as opposed to political.
Yeah.
Because the chaos, supply chains, food, everything will be impacted just like it was before. But then much harder because it will be very confusing to people. And based on what you're saying, the timeline might be shorter than it was with this prior virus. So they're not going to have much time for work on any kind of medical solution for this, right?
Well, I don't know. Again, I have found one person, Haitian prophet, who mentions exactly that yesterday on a program, and he gave a timeline that is aligned with what I'm feeling. And again, I'm just turning the corner around to kind of begin to perceive this. And I don't want to set you all in panic, because we've had the past 2 years has been so rough. Okay?
Yeah, but I just to confirm what you were saying, I'm already feeling it. So for me personally, actually knowing what it is, it's helpful. It helps to calm me down and think about it logically, as opposed to let it just unravel me. That's just been my experience. So not everybody, some people don't want to. I had like my roommate, she doesn't want to hear it. She said, I'm better, I don't want to know. Some people are better.
Yeah, absolutely.
But some people are the opposite. Some people are better if they know. So it depends on the person.
And again, I don't know the contagious factor related to this. My perception is that it's much more devastating than what we're currently experiencing. So you know what I'm saying? And so I'm still trying to unpack it for me. Mm-hmm. And I have now more of a focus assignment to kind of figure out, because this prophet, it was my sister Marjorie who listened to him, and she remembered what I had said about a second pathogen. And then she said, this guy just did. I said, send me the video. I watched it, and I'm like, what he was saying, I didn't agree with, but the timeline, I agreed with. It felt right. Mm-hmm. It felt right, which is almost immediate, 2 or 3 months. Mm-hmm. And then after that, another 3 months, and then it becomes like a real problem.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna, between now and then, I have to be very, very neutral. That sensation of this imminent doom, this thing that's gonna happen, this malaise, this kind of unease in that something is imminent, some catastrophe. I have to be neutral to that. And if I can really become neutral to it, I will see it. I will know what it is. And my fear generally are not related to necessarily me, or me getting sick or getting killed or dying or etc., my fear is always related to shepherding. How do I be a good planetary teacher and leader? How can I shepherd all of you and give you guidance so that we can move through this with grace? It's always my issue, is to find the right way, and also the right way to communicate something that's that complicated without sounding like I'm fear mongering or I'm trying to agitate people into panic.
Well, we're so blessed to have you.
Well, the past few days, I haven't felt blessed. I felt like I'm swallowing lead, okay? And I'm trying to regurgitate it out. That's what it felt like. It was very, very, the past, and this is why I'm saying this retrograde, I'm so happy it's over. Today is the 17th. Mercury is out of retrograde today. I'm so happy because I know it was connected to the position, the astrological position as well, and the astrological configuration as well. And if I can feel better, if I can get to my peace, my normal alignment, my normal peace, I can see better.
Right.
Because as long as I am in that state and I'm overwhelmed by the emotion, you know how when you're feeling something that's big and you're inside this bubble of emotion and you can't, you know that peace is outside of it, but you cannot find a way to get to it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and you know that clarity is outside of it, but you can't find a way to get to it. That's what I've been feeling. And it takes me some time till 11 o'clock after I'm up by 7 to get to it because it's so big.
Right. True. And thank you for sharing, because I've been we've done so much work and I felt so good. And this started creeping in. I was like, what didn't I do? You know?
Right. You
think like,
yeah. Totally, because you begin to blame yourself. You think you're not doing your meditation good enough. You're doing something wrong. This is the way it starts. You start blaming yourself. And when, the archons, of course, can corrupt anything. So when you have that feeling, they make you feel worse. They make you feel that you're not doing good enough. You're not surrendering. Actually, I was saying, you're not letting go enough. You're not doing enough.
Right. Or what have I missed or something?
Yeah, you missed something. It's your fault for not being good enough, for not being back in that space. Whereas it took me, and it's only this morning that I realized it was in the ether of the planet. Up to 2 days ago, I kept thinking that it was personal to me.
It was yours. Yeah.
It was personal to me.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. I only knew because I was in a state between sleep and awake, and I noticed I was creeping in.
Yeah.
Because it creeps in a little differently when it's yours. But it was sometimes I catch it, but it's accidental.
Yeah.
It's just a lucky catch.
Yeah. So for those of you who are intuitive enough, I'm asking you to try to be neutral to whatever that sensation or that feeling is. By surrendering it to God, I release all attachment, fears, and control. And I surrender the great emptiness and endless luminosity. Whatever that is, it is not yours. Do not accept it as yours. It's something that's in the ether of the planet. It's too big. Give it back to God. Take the scarf away from me. And trying to find your peace in your center. And once you are in that peace, in that center, then you can begin to, you need to be at peace for a while, maybe several days. And when you're in that state of surrender and peace, then you can begin to ask what is happening in the ether of the planet and see what you get as a result of this. You see what I'm saying? Because without an engagement and asking and querying the field and asking the right question, you're not going to get an answer. And if you engage and you have a conversation, the field will respond to you. It will give you information, or at least guidance so that you can prepare better.
I do agree to, like, I notice to give it some space and time. Like you said, a few days, as opposed to like trying to go into it immediately.
Yep.
And then I guess you can also ask which part is yours, right? And which part may be resonating with this.
Yep. And these things are organic. They have to grow, they have to expand. And these, for something that big, where the entire good body of the planet is locked into this perception because something is about big is about to happen, it takes a while for you to disconnect to it.
Right.
So for you to expect in one sitting and one meditation that you're going to get it, it's irrational.
That's a good point. I used to make that mistake because I wanted to make it go away.
Yeah, no. It's going to take days.
I made it worse. So
Yeah, it's going to take days.
it takes
Then you're beginning to, you're feeling like you're not a good student, you're not doing good enough, and and that feeling, the outcome can then poison against you,
make
to
it
make you
worse.
feel undeserving.
Right. Yeah. And then it piles up.
Yeah, you know, crap on top of crap.
And then you feel like you drag your bags behind you.
That's right. No. It will take days. It will take as long as it takes for it to unpack.
Right.
Okay?
Okay. Good point. Thank you.
It will take as long as it takes to unpack for you to be back into that state. For me, as I said, I'm noticing these things, I would be back into this bliss state like in 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most for me. All of a sudden, all the wrinkles are gone, all the knots are gone, and I'm connected to the field. I'm in the blessed field. But it takes sometime an hour and 15 minutes for me to get there, because I'm this whatever that cloud is, I can't shake it.
Right. Well, good to know. Good to know to give it time. Thank you, Pierre.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And again, I'm not completely, as I said, I don't have any more information than just this morning. And keep up with your practice. Do what you're supposed to be doing. Do not set up crazy expectation on your part that you're supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be, as I said, the past 2 weeks has been like, I'm like, okay, so, you know, I'm feeling this. It started very slowly. It creeped in very, it's like a dimmer switch, very slowly and very gradually. Every day it was getting worse and worse, worse and worse, more intense. The feeling got bigger. The sensation got bigger. It took me longer to try to shake it. Yesterday, it's an hour and 15 minutes of work before I finally got to a point where all of a sudden, the funny thing about it is that I begin to feel better, whereas before I was trying to get rid of it and do all of that. The moment I said, okay, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm giving up. The moment I said this, all of a sudden, the pressure was gone because I surrendered it. And all of a sudden, my normal state, which is what I can feel connected to the infinity times infinity, the blessed field, that normal state came back. Now I want to go over the points or the protocol that you do, because be aware that whatever the feeling is, in this instance, this feeling of foreboding that something is wrong, it's insecurity. I didn't know what it was. It took me days to identify it was insecurity about the future. It took me a long time to figure out it was connected to paranoia and fear, and that something ominous and terrifying is about to happen. It took days for me to think, every day I would get a little bit more glimpse into what it was. and it kind of like expanded like an accordion. So, but remember that the archon cannot create anything, any emotion or any feeling. What they can do is that they can corrupt anything to the max and make it way, way bigger than it ever has to be. So the archons, while I'm unpacking this, I could feel also that the archons are inflating it and making it bigger. This is why I'm having so much difficulty identifying it, because they're capitalizing on my own paranoia, which is by nature where I grew up in Haiti. I talked about in several other classes the survival thing and how I decompose the survival with the paranoia of my culture, the paranoia for my mom, the food insecurity, the shelter insecurity, all the things that I felt insecure when I was growing up back in the Caribbean. So and thank God I did all of this construction because I was trying to figure out of the feeling that I'm sensing, is it 100% mine? And the answer was no, because it's not. How much is mine? 22%. Okay, 22%. And I needed to identify the feelings that belongs to me and separate, of course, the one that are not mine. Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael come in and take this away from me. I don't need to carry a burden, whether it's from the planet, from the archon, or whomever. If it's not mine, I need it to be taken away from me. Then the other thing as well, the ones that are mine, I need to deconstruct them and find out where it's coming. So the paranoia is connected to the survival paranoia that's connected to my 3D core. The fears, okay, fear and insecurities are also connected to this. It's a different branch or different root to the same core. And so thank God that I had done the exercise before where I figured out what the survival, the core survival 3D thing is for me. And I had identified the 5 different things, core emotions that are connected to it. So the more I was able to quickly identify, this one is insecurity because I felt that before. This one is paranoia. I know what the paranoia feels like before. This is, I don't have depression. I don't feel listless, that I can't do anything. I can't even pick up my head. I'm so tired and so exhausted. I don't have the energy. I don't feel that way. I have the panic. I have the opposite. I have the panic. I have the paranoia, and my brain starts working over time, spinning out of control, imagining all kind of catastrophic things that are going to happen, like working overtime. And when it's working that fast and overtime, the archons are pushing me. And as a reaction to it, I identify, is it 100% mine? No. What is not mine? Archangel, ask the archangel to take it away. What's mine, I need to go deeper into my body, and I need to figure out a way to shut it down by surrendering it into source, letting it go. Take deep breath, universal breath. I release all attachment, fears, and control, and I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity, one emotion at a time. I surrender the paranoia, the fear about, then the fear. Then thirdly, the insecurity about the future. So far, so good. Let me know if you're clear about what I'm saying.
It's clear to
Okay.
me.
Thank you. And the other thing that I want to add that's adding a level of complication to this, it's that we are human beings. The planet is transitioning into the new earth. And this experience that's about to happen is connected to the group body of the planet of humanity that needs to learn this. Which means what? I have a cord in my body that connects me to the group body of humanity. And that's why I'm feeling it, because I'm coded and I'm connected to them. And as long as I'm human and I'm in 3D, I cannot really completely cut it off. It's the kind of thing, and I had that experience before doing healing for clients, where I see a cord that's so big and all that, and I ask Archangel Michael to come in and cut the cord. The cord will be cut literally in 5 minutes. I would see the cord, the two ends of the cord re-meeting again and connecting again. Because when you have something, this client is still in 3D, the cord that's connected to him is still in 3D, is still there. And he's still really, he has not elevated his consciousness into 4D or 5D or higher to disconnect his dependence and symbiosis that connects him to the cord, to the energy cord that I was trying to cut him off from. And it took me 3 or 4 times in a row of trying to ask Archangel Michael, I'm like, maybe I did this wrong. Let me ask Archangel Michael to do it again. Archangel Michael came back again, cut it. It was cut, separated. I saw it separated, and I saw it literally 5 minutes later, coming back, reconnecting again. We're still human beings. We're still in 3D. We are going to be living collectively on Earth for the next year, hopefully. And in that period of time, these things are going to happen. And as they're about to happen, we're going to know. We're going to experience it. We're going to know that something is not right. And so as this is about to occur, I don't know how to actually disconnect. I'm pointing this out to you because all the cord cutting technique in the world will not be able to disconnect you to the group body of humanity, because we all belong to it. We're all human beings. It's not like connect this cutting cord to negative people, or cutting cord to, your toxic coworkers or your toxic ex-girlfriend or boyfriend or etc. This is not the same thing. We're all human beings, and something big is about to happen, and we need to be very aware that in that upcoming thing, we have to play a role somehow. And maybe the role is for us to broadcast a different message, to tell people, to kind of be a leader and tell people, you have a choice. You don't have to do this, you could do that. So it's a question of having the clarity, and then sharing that clarity with others so that I will know how to navigate the storm that's upcoming. Now, it could be that you're not feeling anything. It could be actually that the past few days and weeks for you have been absolutely fabulous. And more power to you. If you're in that state, I'm so happy for you, because what I've been feeling, today is better. What I've been feeling is no fun. But I am, however, very hopeful, because one thing, Mercury is out of retrograde today, but more to the point is that the moment I begin to have a sense of clarity of what it may be, the fear and the panic and the insecurity begin to dissipate. It's when I cannot identify the feeling that I am confused, I and I remain in that state of confusion and chaos while the archons are stirring up my emotions and making them bigger. But the moment I begin to see and understand what it is, I am better. I become more effective, and I can begin to move toward finding a solution, and that helps me to progress toward the alignment and the clarity that I need. Any questions about how to deal with the archons? If you want me to go over something that's unclear for you, I'm using myself as an example all the time, but if you have something personal that you're dealing with that you don't mind sharing and how to appropriately query and all that, just ask me so that I can clarify for you, because this is too important.
Pierre,
Yes.
you just said something, and I know that it was like a colloquialism that you just said, more power to you. And that's exactly what you need, more power. And I had the feel today to the list of Mighty I Am affirmations that we had. I had the feel today to start to say them again, because that will bring more power to you. And when you said that, I said, see, you call on that mighty I am. That is the power. Call on that mighty I am. So I'm just going to throw that in there. And for myself, like I said, had been feeling, kind of strange. And usually I turn the lights out at night. But since I was feeling this way, I decided that I'm going to leave the lights on, because usually the things that bring you the most trepidation is because you're in the dark about something. And so instead of me being in the dark, it's light. And when I wake up, I can see. I can see. So I'm just adding those two things to it. Is more power to you. That is exactly what I need, more power. And the power that I'm calling on is that mighty I am. So for myself, I'm going to start again with my affirmations along with everything else that I was doing. And the funny thing this morning, I got up early and I put on the ascension meditation. Daniel Lisa lives upstairs, from me, and her bedroom is over top of the kitchen where I have my computer. And so, as that meditation goes on and you're doing your ohms along with it, and she said she was sleeping and she kept hearing this buzzing sound, and she said she thought it was a train that was coming, and she kept on saying, "What is this train? Why do I keep hearing this train?" And because as you were doing, the tuning yourself, I was doing the tuning myself too, because that makes me feel better. It shifts my energy to do those right along with it, and it puts me, back into my center, and I can feel the power move in me, and as I'm calling it, I can feel it. So she came downstairs. She said, "Oh, you're doing your meditation." She said, "I was wondering, where is all this? This energy was building to the point where she was feeling." Now, I didn't think this was reverberating up through the ceiling and in the floor, and she's in the bed and she's feeling that there. So, more power to you. Do it. That's just my offering. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Celidia, and thank you for sharing that. And again, whatever can give you the clarity that you need, because we're all different and the archon affect us differently because they're customizing their test to us. Thank you for sharing your own personal experience and how you're dealing with it. Because for me, the experiences that I'm having are very specific to me and my own makeup. I need to identify, I need to understand what I'm dealing with, and I need to separate myself. Because if I accept whatever I'm feeling as mine, because that's what I did initially, thought all of it was mine. I'm not doing something right. I'm not doing something right. I'm doing the protocol wrong. What am I doing wrong? I review everything. I'm supposed to be doing this. Did I do it right? I'm looking at all my papers. I'm looking at listening to all the recording. And I'm like, I'm doing everything right. It's not where the problem was. And then I began to slowly realize, okay, this is not me. Initially, my first thing was all cons are inflating, which was true. But what are they inflating? And then it was this morning that I discovered it was what I just shared with you. So this is literally cutting edge information, cutting edge stuff that I'm bringing you as it is actually occurring and happening for me, because it's not happening to me, it's happening for my benefit. Because he who is forewarned is better prepared to traverse the dangerous path of the bardeau with grace. Because we are traversing the bardeau. Any other questions or comments before I proceed with related information, but I'm going to veer off slightly?
Well, Pierre, I just want to say that this is Esther. That mine is not more much as feelings as it is a sensing. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm sensing, and I've been like the last at least definitely 2 weeks, if not 3, is that, this winter is going to be a greater disruption than last winter. Mm. And it's not like, it's just the sense of it, Mm. And even when I've gone out, I went out to the market a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling Bobby I came back, and I said, well, I had to have exact change because they were not giving change out. And she said, what? I said, well, they're saying something about the exchange and they're low on change. So they're not giving out any change. You have to have the exact change to purchase whatever you're going to purchase. Purchase electronically, but they are not giving change in coins back. And then like a couple of weeks ago, I began to notice, more shelves vacant than I've noticed in the past. I know in some of the bigger stores. And it's like, I've never seen them quite this vacant before. And I'm just sensing that it's going, and then I was just, I don't know, you ponder these different things around in your head, and it's like, this winter is going to be a bigger disruption than last winter. Mm. And I didn't try to make sense out of it other than just accepting what I was getting. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's more what I'm sensing, is that it is a bigger disruption that we have not gotten to yet or seen. Yep. And it's going to affect us in every way, really, our daily lives, and just your total being. Yep. That's kind of where I'm sensing, but I try to stay close to Mother Earth. Mm-hmm. And so I've been going out and working outside a lot. Well, not a lot, but consistently, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I sleep well.
That's
and
good.
And I mean, mine is, it's not more in the feeling, but in the sensing.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Esther. And we know that the supply chain is being disrupted right now. There's all these containers that cannot come. And the Secretary of Commerce today was talking about that today in the news that and this disruption will continue until 2022. So
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it is what it is. It's part of the experience. And again, we are collectively agreeing to experience this, meaning humanity, okay? This is a way to teach us a lesson about what's important and what's not important. And so we are experiencing this because of this. And so and I don't want to, if we're learning a lesson like this by karma, which is usually very painful, I don't want to have to repeat this again. So I want once and for all to learn the damn lesson and get over this so that it doesn't no longer affect me, wherever I'm going to go, whatever bus or train or portal or dimension I'm going to travel to. I don't want to have to repeat this again. So I'm going to capitalize on this opportunity to try to learn what I need to learn to the deepest level. And once I have assimilated and processed it, I don't have to repeat this again. Like I'll always say to God, every time I face a challenge, this is my movie, I'm creating this. What am I trying to teach myself? And God, do not take this away from me, but give me the wisdom to learn this lesson once and for all so that I will never have to repeat this again. That's my motto. I don't want the lesson to be taken away from me. It's my challenge, let me deal with it. But at least give me the insight and the wisdom so that I can learn it, right? And so we're going towards something, and there are lots of pieces that are moving, and I know they're all interrelated. So as I have the clarity, I will share that with you. Thank you, Esther.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make one other little comment because that was the other part, it's like knowing when you are experiencing it or seeing it, because I thought about when I came to New York when at the beginning of the pandemic, and I didn't realize that there was a pandemic going on. And I came there and we were looking for a restaurant and all of the restaurants are closed. And I'm saying, well, what's going on? And I didn't know what was going on. And I had met up with Marie, whom we all know. And so we were still looking for a restaurant to eat, and we finally found a restaurant, but I'm saying that we didn't have a clue, and we were right in the middle of the epic of the pandemic, and we were just, acting as if nothing was happening, and it wasn't, I guess. It didn't happen to us, but, a week later, we found out what was going on, and I said, oh, my word, so, I want to be able to recognize, too, if
Right.
I'm in it or walking into it, to kind of have some kind of discernment or knowing or enlightenment or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the way you're going to learn. You're going to understand it and learn it. Give me the wisdom. Give me the insight.
Exactly. Because we were there saying, what's happening? It's so quiet. Nobody's around. And we kept going to the restaurants we love. And we say, well, this one is closed. And it's, well, there's one over on that street over there. We drove over there. This one is closed. And then we drove to another. This one is closed. Everybody was closed. We finally found the restaurant, to eat in. And we still did not have a clue.
Yeah, which is not a good thing.
I know. I thought about later. I mean, I was thinking about that this morning
Yeah.
when I was dealing with, what I'm sensing.
Mhm.
And I'm saying, okay, I hope I know it this time, if I'm in the middle of it,
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much. And again, the core emotions and feelings, like all these things. Anybody else wants to say anything before I proceed?
I just thought when Esther, when you said that, I remember they said the revolution will not be televised, and this is what's happening, and this is what Pierre is saying, is he's trying to receive from spirit the pre, the pre-warning, because it's not, if we wait till we see it or hear it on the radio or TV, it will already be too late.
Yeah.
And so this is what we're talking about. Who's getting the instructions for the ark?
Yep.
And this is it, and this is the way. Yeah.
Hold on. Let Lydia finish. I'm sorry. I thought you were.
No, go ahead. I'm finished.
Oh, well, I have heard at least 2 other people say that there's another flood of some pandemic with virus that's going to be more contagious than the one here. But, I don't know.
Yep. Okay. So for me, all of this point out to one thing. The document that has information that relates to this is the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And it talks about the fact that there is, and although the document in the book itself is about how to navigate when you die, the 41 days that elapse before when you die and when you get reincarnated. And this monk outlined all with great details what happened each day, the first experience, the second. And then it keeps talking over and over again about the experiences in the Bardo. The first 7 days is about the experience of this great light that he calls the luminosity in the text. And initially it's a big white light that most people think it's God, the angel, dead relatives, etc. And whereas he says, in truth, it's none of that, it is actually you. You're looking at the essence of your being and the way you really are and what you really are. And the only thing that you need to do to find enlightenment is to recognize that that luminosity is you. And recognition and enlightenment are instantaneous. And the issue is that we have clipped our wings so much and made ourselves so small and so insignificant. And they all kind of helped us feel less and less about ourselves as well, that we can't recognize it. So on the second day, it's a yellow light that comes. And the way the book is written is that it comes and it invites you into to find the recognition. And if the light is going to terrify you, it's going to make you feel like you're pierce your heart and you're going to be scared of it more. There is a dim light that you're going to see that's going to make you feel very comfortable. Do not go into the dim light. So it's kind of the monk is reading this to someone who's dying or someone who's already passed, to the soul of this person, to try to guide them each day to the experience you're going to have so that they can find the luminosity. Because the only way out of the wheel of death and rebirth is to recognize that the luminosity is you. If you fail to recognize the yellow light, the next day a red light will show up, then a blue light, then a multicolor rainbow light, and so on and so forth. And So once you pass the first series of lights, on the 8th day, the second phase of the battle begins. This is when they call what they call the wrathful deities. So instead of experiencing, although the light that you experience, most people cannot stare at the light is too strong. It's like staring at the sun. It's too strong, people cannot recognize it. And they will never in a million years think it's them. Yet the book keeps saying, if you can recognize it's you, you will realize that behind that red light or behind that green light or that blue light, there is a Buddha there that's waiting for you. The blue light is the Buddha of compassion. Omito Fa is there and it will welcome you and take you into enlightenment. Every different color light is a different Buddha. On the 8th day, those were the benevolent, the pleasant, the more or less pleasant experience. On the 8th day, you're now going to be facing the Lord of Death, the Lord of Karma. You're going to be facing your own shadow and your own darkness. All the things that you were supposed to do that you haven't done because you became unconscious about it and you kind of like laissez-faire and put it on the shelf. You can do it tomorrow and tomorrow. I'm not doing this right now because I'm busy, trying to, whatever it is that you think is important. You're trying to be God assistant about something. The only thing that you're responsible for is to save your soul. Everything else that you're doing on earth right now is not important. So the wrathful deity experience is terrifying because what you experience is a demon on the first day, a giant demon that's as big as the sky with 3 heads and multiple eyes and multiple arms holding the 7th head of somebody with blood gushing out and a bucket in his, on the other hand with machetes and screaming where his voice sounds like thunder and everything else. And as you're getting scared like this by this being that's moving toward you, charging toward you, they keep warning and saying, it's interesting how it's worded. Whatever it is that you're experiencing right now, it is emptiness. It's an illusion that your mind is projecting and creating. It's an illusion. It's a convincing illusion. It's emptiness. And even if this being and this demon were to catch you and try to pull you apart and dismember you, that being is emptiness, and what you are is unconscious tendency focus on emptiness. And emptiness cannot harm emptiness. This being did not harm you. You're feeling like it harm you, but it is not true. It's an illusion. And therefore, the moment you recognize that it is an illusion, it dissipates. And the being that looks as big as the sky, all of a sudden the sky opens up and you see only rose petals falling to the ground. And there would be a Buddha behind this being waiting for you to take you into the luminosity. I want to talk about this because I want you to understand that right now, what's happening around the planet, we are seeing these demons, these wrathful deities manifesting as pandemic, as natural disasters, as food supply chain issue, etc., etc. We're seeing it being created in the real world. Will we recognize it as Maya, an illusion, or as emptiness, or are we going to see it as something else? That's the test. And every day when the rightful deity shows up, there's a prayer that the supplicant has to say, because you, by your own merit, you cannot overcome this demon. You cannot do it by yourself. Like Celidia was saying, the mighty I am presence prayer. You have to pray to your teacher, your Buddha. You have to pray to a higher power and ask them for help. And the help is always, the prayer always ends or begins with, give us safe passage in the dangerous path of the Baldo. Give us safe passage. Any questions and comments? So it's important for us to understand that day 2, a different demon will show up. Day 3 of the wrathful deity, another being will show up. All of them more and more terrifying than the other. And every time it shows up, there is an opportunity for you to realize it's an illusion created by the archons that are projecting it into you. But that archon cannot create it or project it. Whatever image that's being projected is created by the archon. That archon cannot create it without you owning some part of it and realizing it is my own suppressed and repressed emotion that's being projected outside of me. Because the Baldo does not happen only between incarnations. There's the Baldo of life, the Baldo of death, the Baldo of dream, the Baldo of enlightenment, which is what we're moving through right now. Baldo really in Tibetan, it means a gap between two things. It's a period of transition between two states. And we are transitioning, we're moving from one dimension into the next. So whatever we're experiencing that's going to be big and immense and terrifying, overwhelming, the sensation that I'm having about this insecurity, about the future is overwhelming. That is similar to what you experience in the Baldo when you're facing the wrathful deities. It is up to us to kind of figure out where we stand with this by becoming quickly awakened. This is why I'm asking you, I keep talking about all the time, you know all the principles. This is where the rubber meets the road. When you're experiencing these things, like Esther was saying, you're sensing and experiencing all these things in real life, you have to ask, if you query yourself, what am I looking at? What am I really experiencing? Energy doesn't lie. And you wait and you think about, you go inside, the answer will come to you, and quickly you will find the wisdom that you need to understand what the lesson is about this experience. The outside is a mirror that's trying to mirror to you an internal state. All of that chaos, all of that craziness, all of these wrathful deities and these experiences we're having, the planet is having right now, are mirrors for us to find ascension quickly. This is literally an accelerant to cause us to grow and evolve faster. It's like putting organic growth accelerant into this germ, the growing of a plant. It's going to show it, but it's only if you shift your awareness and you tune it to that frequency. Otherwise, it's going to appear like somebody's trying to hurt you. Comments? Celidia, you wanted to say something? You want me to?
Well, you must have been here in my mind. I certainly didn't say nothing, but I was saying in my head, I understand what you're saying in one sense. And then the other sense is that, are we talking about moving from one plane of consciousness to another in a physical existence? And all right, going from this 3D paradigm into this 5D paradigm while still occupying flesh bodies? Are we talking about moving through this as, having left the flesh body behind and moving through the spiritual bardo on a sense where you're moving spiritually from one plane, to another? Or is it some kind of combination of both of these things happening? Because to me, it seems like, and this is what I'm trying to say, it seems like I'm in two places, like this world is not the same to me anymore.
Yep.
And the other world isn't quite, it's not quite formed for me yet. And I feel like I'm in between two places.
Yep.
And so I don't know whether or not that makes sense to you, but that was what was in my head when you called my name. And I was going to say, well, I'm not going to say this because it sounds like you're crazy. But that was what was in my head when listening to I'm thinking something from the Bible. I was trying to figure out where did I get that from? Where they were asking the writer. He said he didn't know whether he was in the body or out of the body when this experience happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, are we in the body or out of the body?
Yeah. Well, it's both, I think. I actually think you're right about being in multiple worlds at the same time. And it's not just two worlds, because they all kind of trying to pull us through. So at one moment you're in that world, another moment you're in the 3D world as we know it, another moment you enter the spiritual world, and it's very confusing because you don't know where you belong. And you're right about one thing: this planet will never be the same again. Nothing will ever be the same again. And so what I think we're saying, particularly with the DNA reconstruction and all the other stuff that we're doing, is that we're gonna have to evolve and allow our physical body to release the stored light that's in it by dispelling the archons and the fear that they are generating, and aligning our consciousness to release the stored biophotons. Okay? And when that happens, we will be transformed into the Homo luminous. We will have evolved from being Homo sapien into Homo luminous. Or like one of the author calls it, Homo Deus, man God. So this is the experience we're trying to navigate and we're trying to understand. And we are shifting back and forth in terms of consciousness, because but the experiences that we're having outside, they are the accelerants. They're terrifying, they're scary, hurtful, because there's a lot of loss. I've talked about the grief and the loss multiple times before in other classes. There's a lot of loss, there's a lot of grief, and all of them become the fertilizer, the microorganism that become the fertilizer that will allow us to evolve into this new being. And I need all of you to pay attention to these little details. When you're feeling this sensation, you're sensing these things, the outside is a mirror. What you're experiencing outside, it's not just, curious, this is happening, blah, blah, and you go about your business. It's a mirror. What is this? You're trying to teach yourself something. Everything you experience, you're creating. So if you're experiencing loss, scarcity, insecurity, fear, joy, happiness, whatever it is that you're experiencing, you ask yourself all the time, what am I trying to teach myself? And if you can hold that consciousness, the lesson will somehow precipitate out, and you will get wisdom, you will see, you will get the insight, and you will know, that's what I'm trying to teach myself.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. What is that story? I think Janice knows the story. Janice, are you there? Is she still around?
Yep. Yep.
Janice, what is that story about the man that was drowning and asking God to send somebody to somehow do a miracle to save him? You remember that story you told me?
Yes. Well, I think as I remember it, if it's the same story, the man was on top of his roof in a flood and he was asking God to save him. And I don't remember all the different things that went by, men in a rowboat or in a helicopter or whatever that offered to pick him up. He said, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. Is that the story?
Yep.
Well, the story, I've condensed it for brevity, but the idea is you take help when it comes and not what you thought it would look like.
Yeah, because when he died and went to heaven, he kept saying, if you reproach God and said, I was waiting for you to save me, but God said, I send you a boat, I send you a helicopter, I send you all these things. But you failed to take it, you failed to recognize it.
Oh, right, right.
So in the same manner, we are being helped. The accelerants are in front of us. And if we fail to capitalize on it and see it as an opportunity to elevate our consciousness, and we go to the wrong place, it's not God's fault. We didn't act on it. So I want you to
that reminds me, I was watching a movie. You know, there is that series called God. There's like a new one, the interview with God or appointment with God. And there was the comment that he was talking to God, he was getting upset, and eventually he like yelled out, "Who are you?" And he said, "You know who I am." And he said, I'm giving you this instructions or blessing, whatever it might be. I'm giving you what you need, but it's up to you to receive it. And then it reminded me, because I was at work and I was talking to the small boys there. And I was trying to tell him to be careful and be smart. And he was ignoring it. And I just said to myself, well, you know, I'm giving you good information. It's up to you to receive it. It kind of reminded me of that, where they didn't like the information. They didn't want to do the work, and they didn't recognize that it was for their own good.
Yep. The only thing I can say to all of you, this is not a rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a rehearsal. You either get it or you're going to go to the wrong place. You're going to find yourself and you're going to get somewhere. You're going to say, how the hell did I get there? Whereas the people that you love, that you care for, did the work, we're going to go somewhere else. Because it's your merit that will take you to the right reality. It's only by merit. All right, let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll do our closing meditation.
Okay.
Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. I become aware of the connection that exists between my heart and my mind. Let my mind sink into my heart. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your heart neuron net connection and train your mind into a state of coherence. Realize that you can perceive, know, sense, information, energies, 360 degrees. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Allow yourself to sink into the morphogenic field that connects everything together. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I become aware of the discomfort, panic, fears, and insecurities about the future. Locate the sensation in the morphogenic field around you or in your physical body. Do not resist this. no matter how uncomfortable this may be, lean into the discomfort and go in. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Is this feeling 100% yours? What percentage of this belongs to you? I call forth Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and Raphael, and I ask them to dislodge from me the percentage that is not mine. Cleanse and purify my body from this sensation, this feeling, this perception, wherever it may be located. Take this cup away from me. Into the percentage that I own. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachment, fears, and control. And I surrender to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachment, fears, and control. And I surrender to the great emptiness and endless luminosity. Whatever the future holds, it is not my responsibility to change, alter, or do anything. I simply surrender my vulnerability about this upcoming events. And I surrender myself to your mercy, your protection, and your grace. Keep me safe. Keep my loved ones safe. And guide all of us who are trying to elevate and learn as quickly as we can into the wisdom, the understanding, and the insight to find safe passage into the new earth. Give me the neutrality that I need. Give me the peace and the serenity that I may know when to move and when to stay put. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachment, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. I release all attachments, fears, and control. And I surrender into the great emptiness and endless luminosity. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Thank you for the blessings. I accept the gifts and I receive with gratitude. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes. How you all feeling?
Here I have a question.
Yes.
You know, with the meditation we did with archangels, the longer version, where they did like a cleansing for us. I don't know if you remember. I think that was the last class.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if that is similar thing that we are doing with the DNA reconstruction. I'm just wondering if
The
that's
DNA construction is to reclaim it's to repair the damage that they did.
yes. Well, I mean, I understand they're not the same, but I'm just saying if you're doing the DNA reconstruction, if you still need that longer version, if you still need that cleansing that they
If you feel that you need it at one point,
depends.
it's up to you.
Okay,
They're just tools. It's up to you.
right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you. That was so, it was beautiful.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, family. I'm gonna let you go. Again, be neutral. Whatever you perceive, the more neutral you're to it, the better it will be for you. And I'll keep you posted on any other further development. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Thank you. Thank you so much. Blessings.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Good night.